Welcome, everybody, back to another exciting show of the About That Wallet podcast. I really want to say that this episode is actually the conclusion of the first season of this show. I have been honored and really blessed to meet so many people and actually being able to impact someone's life. Just about every episode, there has been someone that says, hey, I really enjoyed the topic. I learned something today. This is something that I plan on implementing in my lifetime. Or even if they're not going to implement it, this is something that they were able to reflect on, because my main passion for this show is to allow you the opportunity to see yourself in a different light and actually show you that you are not the only one dealing with the problems that you're having. So, I mean, for some of you, I'm going to take this way back because, this is a show about the histories and try to talk about some strategies in the future. So when I first started this show, I was in the living room, actually with my laptop. So if you listen to the early episodes, matter of fact, I didn't even use my laptop. It was just strictly my phone and a microphone. And I was just trying my best to work it out. I think in episode 2, I was trying something a little extra. I think I actually got my first, no, I didn't use a microphone yet. I think I was still using my laptop, my cell phone, just speaking directly into the mic. And then when I got to Financially Naked, I think that was actually hilarious. A lot of people gave me a lot of comments on that one. When I got Financially Naked, it was like my slowest episode ever. It's episode 3. But as I was getting a little better, started making some rounds and really started to bring in some guests, I noticed that there were some of the gaps that I was missing. But again, I'm still learning, and as I grow, I try to push as much information out there. So I do want to congratulate and thank my first ever guest to be on the show was Dr. Teal. Dr. Teal was on episode 6, which is getting better at communication. And I have to say that was one of the main important things about the show, is that I was talking about how to communicate to yourself, to your spouse, to your loved one, or even to someone else that you want to take this journey, this financial journey with. And being able to take the journey with someone that you actually care about is really important. So I do not want you to forget about that, because episode 6 was really, really cool. Now coming up to I started inviting other people. So I even started talking about side gigs with DJ Kong. Hopefully I gave him some respect on that one. He was on episode 11, which talked about starting his side gigs, coming up from just having not your traditional education, which is just going to high school and jumping directly into a 4-year college, but he actually started from a community college, then went to a 4-year degree to actually transition his education. And he was able to finance and actually be strategic about funding his side gig, which is going to thrift stores or finding people who are actually trading out their equipment so he can actually use it to take it to that next level. It's surprising that I can remember all these episodes, but every time I think about these episodes, it really brings back that memory and that information. So number 15, had my wife on for the first time. We were talking about when !T hits the fan. This was talking about the workings in between having relationships, your parents, and also having the loss of a parent and actually lessons learned. So how do you actually navigate those different twists and turns that happen in your lifestyle that are unexpected? Well, you kind of expect them, but they really don't happen. And then my next guest started coming into episode 19 when I was talking about relationships and finances with Stephanie Volt. She was talking about the Gen Xers, the different ways to have those relationships at such a later age, and to understand that, money doesn't stop. You have to have those relationships with your finances and also with the others that are in your life. again, this is about the communication piece, because I really want to hone in on a very importance that communication is very key onto making things better for yourself and for your loved ones. Then I started talking about how does having a child change your outlook on your life with Eric Chapman. That was episode 20. I mean, children, they can add so much to your income that if you don't plan accordingly, you can easily go broke and finding yourself working 2 to 3 jobs just to maintain the finances in the household if you don't plan accordingly. And Eric and I, we went through that full process of care and feed. What is his goals for his daughter? What are the expectations for himself and his girlfriend? Well, his fiance now is like, so what is it that children bring to you to actually allow you to become a better you? Why does it take another person or another being to come into the life to actually change your life? Sometimes that's what it needs to take, but ultimately doesn't really need to be. You need to really think to yourself and actually understand, this is where I want to be. Then I had on episode number 21 is just navigating life. Navigating life with my uncle, Richard. Now, Uncle Richard and I, we talked for quite some time, and it was really cool to get some insight on where he came from and his background. And it was interesting to see how he was in the military and planning now to his retirement, where he's able to retire comfortably. So we did touch on retirement, how to navigate life to get to that retirement stage, because a lot of you who are listening to this show are not at retirement age, but are thinking about it. So you need to plan now and start planning for the future. Episode 22. Yes, I'm going to run down all my guests because I really think this is important that you all take the time to listen back before I start going into season 2, because season 2, I'm taking it to a whole nother level. I'm taking everyone to start working and getting extra income. That's where I'm planning to go, but you need to go back to some of these episodes. So like episode 22, stupid money mistakes, and making those stupid money mistakes with call him Dojo, but it's Donovan Jones from Beachbound Condos. See, now he actually made a lot of stupid money mistakes coming back and forth with the military again. Understanding how money works and the reselling and being the middleman when it comes to selling things. And some of those money mistakes that he made, it was just being young and dumb, not being right with his money, buying cars, buying other places to go, hanging out at parties. Like, we really dove into his background on that episode. That was a fun one to kind of see what his mindset is now that he was actually pinpointing different areas in his life that he could have done better, but those lessons that he learned will stick with him and actually carry him even further in his life. So I do plan to have him back on the show to kind of see where he's at for this new year. Now, episode 23 was pretty cool. This episode is called How to Prepare Your Child for the World with Tamara. Now, Tamara was nice to open up about her life and her children, and how she, as a single parent, is raising her 2 children in the different aspects of having one child not understanding money to another one that actually does understand money, because they grew up during the time that they were struggling with her and her husband at the time, were still figuring out things, still trying to make life a little bit better for themselves. But when they had the second child, he wasn't part of that struggle. So now he's trying to understand, what does it take to actually run a household? What does it take to go to a grocery store? How to calculate how much you're spending and saving every time you go to the store. And this is amazing what she's doing as a single mother. And we'll move on to episode 24, How to Master Your Resume, with Janice from Significant Beginnings. Now, Janice is really it's really doing it. We recorded this episode back in November of 2020. Now, remember, that was near the time when the pandemic was slowing up a little bit, and resumes, people were starting to think about resumes, but everybody was afraid to apply for a job because they didn't think they were going to get it. Main reason because they were waiting for the stimulus check. Now, the cool thing about this is that because we talked about this episode about mastering your resume, everybody who's listened to this show for a long period of time should have their resume up to date and ready to go right now, because there are well over 9 million jobs that are available, and you can easily slide into one of those jobs like today. Because I mean, we went through everything, what you need in your resume, how to structure your resume, who do you need to talk to, what type of those keywords that you need to make your resume pop when you go inside those interviews, and they can say, oh, well, why are we even talking? Let's hire you today. Let's go. So Denise was amazing on that episode. Oh man, I really like this one. Episode 25 was a psychology of change with Dr. Green. Now, Dr. Green, we really went back and forth on a couple things, talking about how to change your mindset, and actually understand that you are able to change it regardless of what the situation that you're in. So you actually have the notion to move yourself forward without being impacted by other people. And this was really a powerful episode. I really think everyone should listen to that one. Oh man, I didn't realize I had so many guests. So number 26, this one was a powerhouse. This one was really cool because this number 26 is One Stop Shop for Real Estate with Tracy from MTM Capital Group. Now, Tracy and her partner really ran down the whole system of investing remotely, how to invest into a property, how they actually vet a property, and actually move forward with getting the financing, rehabbing, getting someone in there, the full BRRRR strategy, which is buy, rehab, rinse, and repeat. Yeah, pretty much. Like, it's a cash out refinance. You know, you repair it, put a renter in there, and then you just do it all over again. So you just take your money out, go buy another property, and that's the way you got to do it. Now, episode 27 is Not Losing Focus with Uncle Randy. So Uncle Randy was understanding that education is important, but family comes first, and also mental health. He was going through a lot of stuff with the loss of his parent at the time, and just couldn't focus on schooling, and just really wanted to focus on his family because, you know, that's where he felt his passion was at. Now that the family is at a nice place, he's able to go back to school. After this episode, he did finally finish his schooling, and also his son has actually finished his schooling as well. So this is like a double win for the family. So I cannot thank them enough for not losing focus, because that's the reason why I titled that episode Not Losing Focus, because for no matter what was going on, he made sure that education was still at the forefront, but to understand that family is first and not giving up on the dreams that he really had for himself. Man. Episode 28 is called A Journey into Entrepreneurship with Tyrus Shivers from the ACT Leadership. Now, Tyrus is full of information. Now, he actually talked about how he is changing the mindset of others and understanding that entrepreneurship is not really an easy thing, especially if you do not have the mindset for it, especially when it comes to the ups and downs and the information that you come across and how to utilize that to take you to the next level. So if you are thinking about becoming an entrepreneurship, go into entrepreneurship, check out episode 28. Episode 29 is called Parenting 101 with Jeff from Kwame J Fitness. Now, Jeff also had recently had a child, and I think at the time the baby wasn't even 1 year old. So how he was actually trying to navigate parenting was interesting, because when he noticed, when his wife told him that he was pregnant, he didn't know what to do. You know, it was just one of those quiet moments, and they just sit there, you know, just thinking, how they gonna move? You know, not move as in physically move, but move strategically to support a new life coming into their household. You know, how are they going to change their finances? Now, one of the cool things about them, though, is that they were planning for a child. Episode 31, which is actually the most popular episode of the whole series. Episode 31 was combining households with my wife, Lindsay. This is the second time we were on, and we were actually talking about how we combined our households and all the wrong things that we did, all the right things that we did. And I really think it was a fun episode for those of you who are planning on starting a family with someone and having this intimate moment with each other. So I really say this is it is the most popular episode of the series this whole year. Humble Beginnings, which is episode 32 with Rome Burke. Now, the cool thing with Rome that I thought was very humble about that episode was the fact that he actually had to share shoes going to school, because, you know, family is what matters, and he had to borrow his older brother's shoes to kind of walk to school. But then he didn't use that as a clutch or something that's just kind of, oh, I came all the way down here, you know, and I'm the best because I've been through the worst. No, he was like, you know, I have what I have. I'll make do with what I have. And his mentality about the whole process has been amazing. Like, I cannot put it past him. I thank him all the time for sharing his story, because, you know, it's actually a vulnerable moment. So this was great too. It's called Hair Talk with Oluchi Zelda. Most people just call her Zelda, from Prana for Hair. Now, Zelda was great when it comes to hair care, because my beard was looking choppy back then, which is one of the reasons why I didn't really want to be on YouTube at the time, because I was still working out on the beard structure. So I'll be uploading some of those old clips before I start season 2 all this week. But Oluchi Zelda really opened my eyes up to using water-based products for your hair, especially for people with coarse hair or 4C hair, is to use water-based products. Because I actually started using water-based products with my beard, and my beard started to grow in a lot more. And then I started looking at some of the other products that I was using, which is mostly shea butter, but it just sits on the outside of my skin. So what she recommended was to use the water base to kind of clear up the skin, get it moisturized, let everything soak in, and then put on the shea butter or whatever to style it, give it that little extra shine. And it's been working out ever since. And we recorded this episode 37, which was talking about woodwork, with Janisha Miller from Wood WRX ATL. Now, she's actually a woman in the woodworking space, and you don't hear too many women inside the wood space. You usually hear them in other areas. I mean, it's more and more women are actually getting into carpentry and also with metal work. So this was actually a really cool thing to see someone, well, actually not someone, but actually women out here doing the thing inside wood crafting. Hopefully she could send me my stand, because I've been waiting on that for some time. She said it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks, and it's now June. So yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out where she at with that. I will call her out a little bit later. Oh man. So Episode 38, when I had Dr. Green back on again, we talked about the scarcity mindset versus the abundance mindset and the importance of having an abundance mindset versus growing up thinking that everything is scarce, and it actually could impact your wallet. I mean, because if you actually think about it, everything can be taken away. But do you really want to live like that? Are you living for yourself, or are you living for the next generation or the third generation? Because, you have to think of it as an abundance. You're doing this for a reason. What is your purpose? Really dig deep and think about that. Episode 39, which is definitely one of my best episodes on YouTube right now, talking about long distance real estate with Sean Acumen. He always say, "Let's go." That's his signature, and I had to put some respect on that one because he really dug deep on the importance on long distance real estate, because with long distance real estate allowed him to invest from New York all the way into Milwaukee, and he is loving it. So now he started up a university. And that was actually his first podcast that he was ever on. I have to congratulate him on his success, and he's really taking off right now. It's really growing this platform, and I'm proud of him, and let's keep it going. Baltimore real estate investing with Travis and Heather. Now with Travis and Heather from Vance Investments, they took the time to explain the different styles of investing when it comes to purchasing vacant to value homes. And that is a program that is within Baltimore City, and where you can actually purchase a home for maybe $1 or $2, but it will cost you quite a bit to get the permits, the things to get to deal with when it comes to communicating with the city council, just to make sure you have all the proper permits and building structures and stuff like that. And they actually are planning on doing a program where they can start doing a little mentorship. So you can invest with them. They are available on Instagram at Vance Invest. Episode 41, which is another real estate investment. And I had the pleasure to interview Sam Dolcine. And the episode is called One House. And the reason why I called it One House is because that one house can change your life. And that was his motto. And that's all he's preaching day in and day out, because he believes in that generational mindset, is that you can change a whole family generation with one house. If you sit there and own one house flat out, your children can actually inherit that house and live there without paying any mortgage. And their children and their children's children. Coming into episode number 42, Paying Yourself First with Ashley Gross. Now, Ashley Gross is the owner of Harvest Time Financial, and she focuses on your finances. I mean, her company allows for you to start looking into having an income. Say if you want to leverage your credit or you need help building your credit, that's what she does. She helps you find the funding for your business. So if you're starting a brand new business and you're looking for someone to loan you some money, or as most people say, OPM, which is other people's money, she and her company provides that other money that you need to kind of take you to the next level. Now, we did talk about how to invest and actually investment with your children and how to get your children involved into finances. And what she does with her daughter is amazing. She actually has a small piggy bank for her daughter, and her daughter will actually take the money that she gets and put it inside her little savings bank. There is a link inside the show notes for that bank. So if you can actually go get that same bank on episode number 42. And I believe that episode is out on YouTube as well. So please take a time and look at that. Now, episode 43, which was a far stretch for me because it was a very first. And this was my first person that I've actually read their article on Travel and Leisure magazine, and I brought them on. And this episode is called Black Travel Agents with Stephen Scott. Now, Stephen has been doing his business, I would say, he said he's been doing travel agent stuff since he was a kid because his mom was a travel agent. But Stephen actually wound up owning his own travel agency. So he actually owns the company that hires the travel agents that will allow them to travel across the world as one of the perks. But he's looking for part-time and full-time employees. You can always reach out to him in the show notes. All right, so starting over in business, episode 44. This one is talking about how my cousin Artie was starting all over in business. So he actually started out with a record, started out in the music industry, going on from the music industry, then doing HVAC with his dad, then breaking away from HVAC, then wound up losing the company inside his music industry, then moving on to now trucking. So for him to start over in business so long, over and over again, after just not giving up because of his children, you know, it's one of those things that drives you to do a little bit better. Now he's striving so hard for his family to kind of show, hey, this is doable. You don't have to worry about your normal 9 to 5. If the education isn't the way to go, you always have a job here with me with dad, or that I can show you a way to kind of leverage what you have and what you know to take you to the next level. That's one of the things I really learned a lot from that particular episode. I started talking about vending machines, and that was on episode 49. So episode 49 was I was talking with Monica Johnson, who is the owner and operator of Giants Vending Solutions, LLC. And what she does is a full service vending machine company, which means that she sends out vending machines, but she can also service them at the same time. So that is the niche of her company, and she is doing fantastic. And keep in mind, she's only doing this on the weekends. So she already has her master's degree and doing such great work at her job, on her day job, but to also learn that she can make extra side money just from her vending machine business on the weekends and not having to do so much. And you just walk around and refill them, collect the money. That's it. Johan from Financial Strategies. Financial Strategies. Johan Owens from OMG Financial. And we talked about the financial strategies we were never taught on episode 54. Now, these financial strategies were very important to understanding that money isn't everything. It's about how you actually use your money that you get. How do you take your money from where it's at now to that next level? We asked the questions. He answered. Some of the listeners, some of you who are listening to this right now have asked the question, what is credit? How to save better, how to get more money. These are the things that we talked about on this episode. So this one really, if you have no clue about finances at all and you're just listening to this show, definitely check out episode 54. This will actually give you the energy to jumpstart, because this is what we talked about during that episode is the catalyst for bringing and jumpstarting me to this whole new season 2. I'm sorry I'm actually skipping because my mind is just racing so quickly, because I'm so excited what's coming up for season 2. You will definitely love it. Love the topics and the people that I'm gonna have on the show. Starting off with taxes. That's a huge deal. So with my wife Lindsay, where we talked about why have kids And the reason why we had this discussion is because we were talking about our choice to not have kids, not anybody else's, but ours. And it was really good to invite other people into our discussion about not having kids at the age that we are. And then also, my wife was very stern on the reason why she did not want to have kids. And then also, you get to see my facial reactions if you watch it on YouTube on how she always cuts me every time. It's like, man, I thought she forgot about that. But she doesn't forget a lot of things. So we actually dived a lot into that. And I do want to say I appreciate a lot of the love and feedback that I received on that episode. But as we transition, and I know I'm going a little bit longer because normally you all kind of tune me out after about 10 minutes. But for those of you who have stuck with me and throughout this whole process, I want to say thank you again. I do apologize. I don't have any visuals and stuff like that, but it has been a fun journey. And I want to let you know, because you've stayed all the way to the end of this show, that I will no longer be doing Trade Thursdays. I know, sad story. But Trade Thursdays was fun. I will start adding in at the end of every segment of my show a trading tip, some of the stuff that's happening in the market. So I'll start adding that into my show. So those of you who are looking to invest, I will have you covered. So don't worry. We're going to get some trading stuff in there. I like talking about stocks. I do still do options and so forth. All right. I think I've talked long enough. It's time to go. Again, thank you for listening to the show. I might take a small hiatus, or I might come right back depending on how quickly I can start editing these episodes that I've already recorded to kind of get things rolling. All right, everybody. Again, my name is Anthony. This is the About That Wallet podcast. I'm out. Peace.